Welcome back to new product development. We were discussing this structure and we talked about very innovative examples in energy domain, wherein renewable energy is the focus area. And those examples, though are very large, have not still become very common, probably because the other modes of energy have been long accepted and have strong foothold amongst the processes engaged for organizations serving consumers. But probably looking at the sustainability measures, those methods or renewable energy modes would take up a larger shape and would be acceptable at a larger levels. Now, I will be taking you further into the domain of new product development, and I want your imagination to flare up and to think of what else can be done. Although I have mentioned earlier as well that there are few products which probably would not change. I would not say never change, but probably would not change. For example, pencil, matchstick, I mentioned about this earlier. But then there are methods which have been involved and engaged for positioning these products in a newer form, for a newer way, in a newer way should I say. And I will not take you back into that discussion. Let us focus upon new product development and the elements related to new product development. You see, there are different examples of newness, changing the performance capabilities of the product. For example, a new improved washing detergent. So, performance capability is the mainstay, changing the application advice for the product. For example, the use of Persil ball in washing machines, changing the after sales service of the product, changing the promoted image of the product. For example, the use of green image refill packs, changing the availability of the product and changing the price of the product. Although this newness perspective is actually surrounded by the major P's as far as marketing mix goes, but then we have already talked about the importance of processes involved, the importance of material involved and so on. We talked about Jaipur foot, so that discussion can be coupled up with the discussion which we are going through at this moment. See, a new product has different interpretations for being called new. For example, let us take a new product called A. A snack manufacturer introduces a new larger pack size for its best selling snack. Consumer research for the company revealed that a family size pack would generate additional sales without cannibalizing existing sales of the standard pack size. And again, you see, here consumer insight is one of the important reasons for the organization to take up that step, and we know this by this time that this is one of the reasons. Then another new product called B, an electronics company introduces a new miniature compact disc player, CD player, although CD players have gone by now. The company has further developed its existing or that time existing disc product and were able to offer much a lighter, smaller version. So, that was the kind of change they brought in before CDs went on to change forever into a different kind of a mode. Today we have downloadable music and we all are enjoying that. So, then another scenario wherein a new product C, a pharmaceutical company introduced a new prescription drug for ulcer treatment, or I have just named it ulcer treatment because it is commonly known, otherwise you can put up any ailment or disease here. And following 8 years, or let us say n number of years in laboratory research and few years of clinical trials, the company received approvals from the government's medical authorities to launch its major drug. So, you see, the point is that several kinds of aspects of a product being interpreted as new have been talked about through and through in literature, and it is where I want your attention to be focused upon the new aspect of product development. The 3 products which we discussed are all new in that they did not exist before. However, many would argue, especially technologists, that product A does not contain any new technology. Similarly, product B does not contain any new technology, although its configuration may be new. Product C contains a new patented chemical formulation, hence this is the only truly new product. This can be argued upon. Marketers would however contend that all 3 products are new simply because they did not previously exist, that is, with the user's perspective. Moreover, meeting the needs of customers and offering products that are wanted is more important than whether a product represents a scientific breakthrough or no. If it represents, it is much better, but again if it does not, the point is customer takes it as new. Now, the message is very clear that anything which we are focusing upon as a new product should be seen as new by the customer, and that is the most important element, and that is why I talked about Bahubali when we initiated this discussion. There is a classification to new products, new to the world products. I briefly mentioned this thing. They are the first of their kind and create a new market. They are inventions that usually contain a significant development in technology, such as new discovery or developing further as far as the new technology or existing technology goes in a very different way, leading to revolutionary newer designs. Internet is one of those major examples. There are several kinds of antibiotics, and in today's world, when we are hopefully at the end of COVID-19 experience, vaccine development is again a major thing in terms of new product development. New product lines, although not new to the marketplace, these products are new to the particular company. They provide an opportunity to the company to enter an established market for the first time. For example, Alcatel, Samsung and Sony-Ericsson have all entered the cell phone market to compete with market leaders Nokia and Motorola, originators of the product, and this example is being referred to with context of a particular period. This is not a contemporary example taken from a particular kind of a text. There was a time when Nokia and Motorola were doing very well and they were market leaders. So I have just taken it verbatim from the text, but you can replace these names with contemporary market leaders like Apple and Samsung and so many other organizations, and then there would be other organizations which are entering into the market and following the spree as far as the structure goes. Additions to the existing lines. Now, this category is a subset of new product lines. The distinction is that while the company already has a line of products in this market, in any market for that matter, the product is significantly different from the present product offering, but not so different that it is a new line altogether. And there can be several examples, like McDonald's introduced Pudina flavored burgers for Indian consumers. McDonald has been very innovative and one of my favorite organizations, and I like Dunkin Donuts as well. So that's, and then once you go to this Dunkin Donuts shop, and you find so many beautiful colored Dunkin Donuts all through. There you find several examples of innovation and new product development. Uh, just go there today and enjoy and see for yourself what I am talking about. Improvements and revisions to existing products. These new products are replacements of existing products in a firm's product line. Then there is an element of cost reductions. Now, this category of products may not be viewed as new for a marketing perspective, largely because they offer no new benefits to the consumer other than possibly reducing the cost. But again, you see, there is an element of newness to this. Reliance Jio wrote history in this domain. And you see that there is an aspect of newness to the procedure. And I wish you to remember this fact that when we are talking of product, it is not a standalone aspect, standalone concept, standalone entity. It is related to the processes, to the services, to the material, and I have been talking about this a lot. So, Reliance Jio, though a telecom service provider, brought in all new marketing proposition, and that is how the newness came in. That is why so many subscribers, they got attracted to this organization. Repositioning again is an aspect of that. You see, repositioned new products are essentially the discovery of new applications of existing products, and this has more to do with consumer perception and branding than technical development. Following the medical science discovery that aspirin thins blood, for example, the product has been repositioned for an analgesic to an over-the-counter remedy for blood clots and one that may help to prevent strokes and heart attacks. There has been a lot of discussion on aspirin, and this we have taken from Paul Trott, Innovation Management and New Product Development 2017, published by Pearson. You can go to other relevant sites to corroborate the further details of this medicine. And this is just an example. There is a disclaimer at this stage that do not take it as a prescription or as a scientific discussion at this stage. Now, the new product development decision process. You see, let us look at the blocks. Idea generation takes you towards idea screening, which further takes you towards concept development and testing. Then comes in the requirement of marketing strategy and development, because by this stage you would like to know how I would be able to market this product. I wonder many a times, when knowledge about chemical sciences, chemistry and all those related sciences which are responsible for developing different kinds of adhesives, that actually influenced or enabled the development of different kinds of adhesives which we see in the market. So, when that thing came to fore, that stage, what kind of thought process would have gone into the minds of product managers? They would have definitely thought of those adhesives to be used for industrial purposes and few other usage. But if you will look at this product and you look at Fevicol's campaign, I talked about this in in few of my sessions. But if you look at Fevicol as an example or other adhesives, whichever, Quick Fix for example, you would realize that same adhesive has now been seen with a different kind of a marketing strategy orientation. And this thought process that would have that we see today, that we practically visualize or is visible in front of us today, emanated long back or would have emanated long back and would have passed through several stages of iterations, development, experimentation and so on. So, adhesive might be an old kind of a product, but it has come a far way in terms of its usage, packaging, and most of all, the understanding of the customer that how well these things can be used. Then comes in business analysis, and obviously when you visualize the market, you visualize the revenue model and then competitors and then several other things basically. You see, it's an interesting thing, talking of adhesives, there was a campaign by a company wherein they showed several usage of a particular adhesive, wherein for example, the shoe gets disrupted, so adhesive comes to fore. The teacup breaks, adhesive comes to your rescue. The pen breaks, the adhesive comes to your rescue. The door handle breaks, the adhesive comes to your rescue. Now you see, these are different kinds of elements which would have been visualized by product managers. But one very important thing, they were observing consumers. They were realizing that consumers are thinking of simpler solutions for getting their things intact without any major cost to it. If a door handle breaks somehow and you have a powerful adhesive which can stick it back, so you avoid so much of maintenance cost. I don't know, that there might be a degree of success experienced by the consumers, but definitely it's working for many. Then comes in, further as far as the product development stage goes, market testing, and which takes you towards commercialization, and then send the idea, if market testing doesn't works, then send the idea back for product development, and if it works then you take to the commercialization aspect, and if it works good then you take it for future plans. And if somehow commercialization doesn't works, then you modify the product or marketing program itself. That is, probably the product is not right, or the positioning is not right, or many a times communication is not right. Throughout my sessions I have been avoiding talking about product failures. This time also I would not specifically mention product failures, but I want you to just think of which products could not do well despite of being designed and produced very well. So you see, let's slightly elaborate upon these stages basically with a perspective. You see, some marketing experts believe that the greatest opportunities and highest leverage with new products are found by uncovering the best possible set of unmet customer needs or technological innovation, and sources idea can generate from interacting with employees, interacting with outsiders, studying competitors, adopting creativity techniques, and so on. And creativity techniques are related to attribute listing, new contests, reverse assumption analysis, morphological analysis, mind mapping, and so on. Then idea screening, wherein the purpose of screening is to drop poor ideas as early as possible. The rationale is that product development cost rises substantially with each successive development stage. You just can't afford failure every time. Most companies require new product ideas to be described on a standard form that can be reviewed by new product committee, and so on. Then comes in concept development. Consumers do not buy product ideas, they buy product concepts. This is second time I am repeating this line in front of you, because this holds very important message. Consumers do not buy product ideas, they buy product concepts. They buy the usage, they buy the benefit actually. A product idea can be turned into several concepts. The first question is, who will use this product? Second, what primary benefit should this product provide? Third, when will people consume this product? By answering these questions, a company can form several concepts. Each concept represents a category concept that defines the product's competition. Next, the product concept has to be turned into a brand concept. We will just be traversing into the discussion on brand after one more session after this, and then the story will take you towards how this particular thing which we are discussing at this moment emanates into structuring brands, how new products they become brands over time, how Apple became a brand, how Lenskart became a brand, how Patanjali is a brand, how Dant Kanti is a brand, how Nike is a brand, and so on. Then concept testing B involves presenting the product concept to target consumers and getting their reactions. And the concepts can be presented symbolically or physically. You see, visualization techniques can help respondents match their mental state with what might occur when they are actually evaluating or choosing the new product. Companies are also using virtual reality to test product concepts. Virtual reality programs use computers and sensory devices and so on. Then there is an element of conjoint analysis. I briefly mentioned about this earlier, but here I will slightly elaborate this. Conjoint analysis is a method for deriving the utility values that consumers attach to varying levels of a product's attributes. Respondents are shown different hypothetical product offers formed by combining varying levels of attributes, then asked to rank these offers. From this ranking, management can identify or organization can identify the most appealing offer and the least appealing offer and determine the importance of level of each attribute. You see, a comparison more or less. Market strategy development we have talked about at length, so I would not be drawing your attention once more into the specific details. Then there are business sales analysis related to estimating total sales or visualizing total sales, and cost and profit analysis based on revenue model. So, revenue model is an important thing when we are talking about foreseen sales and cost and profits. Now, you see, up to now the product has existed only as a description, a drawing, a prototype, a structure which you have been working on. Now, this product development stage involves the structuring of everything in a practical term, a commercially feasible product. Then market testing comes in. It is one of the most important stages. The most important element of market testing is that on whom you are testing your product actually. If you are not reaching to the right prospective customer for testing your product, it might not work, because you see, many a times we have found organizations and product managers testing their products on people who are easily available, a convenience based interaction, but that is not the right thing. Field based testing, and I have mentioned about this earlier as well, is one of the most important elements. Commercialization, you see, and points to consider commercialization perspective are timing, geographic element, then target market prospects we have talked about, and then introduction based marketing strategy. Timing is very important, and because we initiated this discussion from a movie, you would remember that movie producers are quite specific on as far as the launch time of that movie. They imagine almost everything. The occasion should be auspicious, that is one part. Most of them, most of us believe that. But the point is that they are always having an eye on that what, kind of competitive entertainment avenues are coming their viewers' way, what kind of other movies are going to be launched in due course of time. So, they are monitoring that as well. Then they are monitoring the levels of availability of the audience. Are they free in large numbers to go in that particular week for as far as movie watching goes? If you launch it in vacations, that is really feasible, wherein you would get larger audience, but then there is another element that during vacations people usually go out of the cities. So, that is again an element. So, should it be a weekend, should it be a Friday, and should it be a holiday season? There are several concerns. So, timing, where and how. That is again an important element. Then there are stages in consumer adoption process. Up till now we are talking of taking an idea to commercialization stage, but the most important thing is, would this idea be adopted by the consumer? And I will be talking about this element very strongly when I would be taking you to my last discussion in this section, wherein I would be focusing upon reflexivity, co-creation, new product development, innovation, and almost all the elements together. Because you see, adoption is a very important thing, and believe me, whichever experiments we have done in due course of time practically and in labs on the field and several projects which we have gone through, we have realized that however useful the product is, however beneficial the product is, however well positioned the product is, that is, even if everything is right for the product, it is not necessary still that consumer would leave the inertia of using a particular product for that particular need and coming to you. It's not necessary that consumers would immediately come to you. So consumer adoption has stages. Everett Rogers defines the innovation diffusion process as the spread of a new idea from its source of invention or creation to its ultimate users or adopters. The consumer adoption process focuses on the mental process through which an individual passes from first hearing about an innovation to final adoption. Now that is related to awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, adoption. I have talked about this earlier as well. It seems very simple, but the point is, awareness you are generating through innovative integrated marketing communication programs with beautiful taglines, wonderful advertisements, going all in for television campaigns, or let us say even word to mouth kind of publicity, or let us say public relations or sales force which is very aggressive, whichever way. But the point is, even after getting aware, does the consumer gets interested? And that is why we should recall Bahubali at this moment, or many other examples which we have discussed. Then if the customer gets interested, then how is he or she evaluating? And one of my favorite examples which I have been using time and again is launch of several kinds of new courses, for example. You see, in today's professional world, when almost all the courses are directed towards professional ability development, still several new courses which see the day of the light do not get that kind of a response. It is not always the brand power of institutions which works, it is also how well it is the prospective student is evaluating that course against several other options she has. Although I should remind you that I never take students as consumers or customers, I take them as products which would be making difference to the industry later on. But just for the sake of an example, I have quoted this with a user choice based kind of a perspective. So there is an evaluative criteria which consumer has in mind. Smallest of the things like mosquito repellents. Why would consumer choose one and why they would choose other? Many a times you do so much of analysis and still we do not find the reasons, appropriate reasons actually. And one of my favorite examples is that how masala dosa or dosa for that matter became such a well adopted product around the world. Sometimes I wonder, actually I do not know. But the point is, it was evaluated well, they got aware, they generated a particular kind of interest, and that interest somehow was generated in them, and they evaluated it across several products, they tried it, they adopted it. There are few products in food category especially when which probably I feel that whole of the world has tried. Masala dosa is one of those, and noodles definitely. I don't think that there is anyone on this earth who has never consumed noodles. I may be wrong with some percentage or to a degree, forgive me for that. So this is all about new product development. Keep thinking, keep fitting in several kinds of examples which I have discussed with you, or you search for several other examples which you may find apt to this kind of a discussion. Write back to me, ask several questions, I will try to answer as many as I can. I will be seeing you with a discussion on correlation of several interesting terms which we have gone through, several concepts which we have built up till now, and I will be seeing you once again very soon. Till then, goodbye.